Welcome back, everyone. We have another fun game of old school Magic the Gathering here today. We'll be looking at kind of a classic Burn'em deck versus the Reanimator deck. If you want to skip right to the game, you could click the timestamp in the description below. First, I wanted to say I played this game somewhat recently in the Northern Paladins, and I'll link to their website in the description. You can check them out on Discord. You can see kind of some of their additional rule sets here. No Library Alexandria, no Mind Twist, only one workshop, and so forth. If you're kind of new to old school or just getting into it, it's a really casual group. They usually meet on Tuesdays and Fridays on webcam. You're allowed to play with proxies, so you can come and kind of test out some decks and whatever you want to do. I've had a lot of fun playing with them. And I think it's time to kind of dig into the deck text today. And let's take a look here at, I call it the Halloween deck or the Reanimator deck. The star of this deck is actually two cards. Of course, All Hallows Eve and Bazaar of Baghdad. And I found that an early Bazaar of Baghdad can really put you on a really quick path to victory. So you want to dump creatures into your graveyard. A Bazaar of Baghdad allows you to draw 2 cards from the top of your library and discard 3. So you're going to go ahead and discard your creatures, and then use an Animate Dead or the All Hallows Eve to bring them back onto the battlefield. So All Hallows Eve, once it resolves, it basically gets 2 counters on it, and each counter is removed during your upkeep. So once it's kind of been cast as a counter, countdown starts to go where you got 2 turns before everyone, your Lobster and your Seeger Vampire, come back as zombie creatures effectively. Now, of course, you think, what fun cards can you put into a graveyard in this deck? Usually you'll see, Sheevan Dragons, or I have 4 Triskelions here. Put some real big, Nicol Bolas, which is, just so hard to card cast from your hand, but he's a 7/7 flyer, and if he does damage to a player, that player discards their hand. You could go to Legends and try to find some fun cards. I pulled out Axelrod Gunnarsson here. This card costs 8 mana to cast for a 5/5 with Trample. And whenever a creature is damaged by Axelrod, and that creature is put into the graveyard, you gain a life, and Axelrod deals 1 damage to target player. So it's a kind of very interesting effect. I like, having it with Trample, so you can just swing with it. You could I thought about putting Johan in this deck, which is a 5/4, again, a creature from Legends. As long as that creature is untapped, all of your other creatures gain Vigilance. That could be another one, but when you're running this deck, once you have the base of it, the Dark Rituals, the Animate Deads, the Bazaar of Baghdad, you could just kind of have fun and put whatever creatures you want in it. So it's going to be a race to see if that All Hallows Eve can come out. And if it does, well, your opponent might be in big trouble. Now let's take a quick look at a Erhnam deck. This is not the exact deck that you'll see in the video, but this is kind of what the archetype is. It's mostly a green and red deck that wants to play out strong creatures like Erhnam Djinn, a 4/5 creature from Arabian Nights that only costs 4 mana to play. So getting this out early and then supporting it with lightning bolts and chain lightnings and fireballs it's a fun aggro strategy. It's definitely one of the more just fun, just play out creatures and cast spells kind of deck that you're going to see in the format. The opponent's deck is running some dual lands for access to white, so some Swords to Plowshares and Disenchants. But other cards that are classic, Wheel of Fortune, of course. You play out some of your creature threats and then draw another 7 cards. Sheevan Dragon for a big finisher, Birds of Paradise and Llanowar Elves for mana ramping. So we'll see. I think the strategy here is going to have to be to play fast and play faster than the Reanimator deck can make its zombies. Let's see who wins. So let's jump right into the game here. So Reanimator on the bottom of the screen here, and Erhnam getting up on the top. So we'll see. I mean, for Reanimator decks, you really want to get the most important card I've seen playing with it is the Bazaar of Baghdad. So we'll see if that comes out. Just a swamp and pass. And the classic turn 1 Vice coming from the player on the top here. So this is going to be 2 damage, I believe. Yep. And the second land drop there was the Bazaar of Baghdad. And right off the bat, I'm going to be discarding Lord of the Pit, Triskelion, and a Vampire. I mean, that's pretty much a perfect discard from the Reanimator deck. And we're going to see a Dark Ritual into an Animate Dead. So Animate Dead on the Triskelion is probably better, but I think we'll stick with the theme of the deck and put the good old Flying Vampire out there. So we'll see if Erhnam get in. Of course, a deck that wants to definitely put some pressure on Move Quick, an excellent early Soul Ring. Into a Granite Gargoyle, classic. Just love the artwork on Granite Gargoyle. Of course, a flyer, so he could block the Vampire. In terms of Badlands, we'll see at this point. You know, as the game goes on and Reanimator deck doesn't cast All Hallows Eve, again, you can use Dark Rituals and Black Lotus, and if you get enough land out to kind of hard cast some of the creatures. But it definitely can have some difficulties doing that. And the Vampires when they come in. And only do 2 because of the Animate Dead. Or I'm sorry, only do 3 because of the Animate Dead. And there goes a Recall, a Triskelion, and oh, another Animate Dead. So here you see the kind of Reanimator Dead deck bringing out its zombie creatures with the Animate Dead card instead of the All Hallows Eve. And I think in this video I may have forgotten that if you have 3 creatures above the Nether Shadow, it could be cast from the graveyard. Something to consider. I don't know if that actually happens here. We'll see. So 5 mana for Erhnam the Burn'em Erhnam. Could play out the Erhnam Djinn already. Could do a pretty nice fireball. Oh, and a double lightning bolt. Now, so who do you target with this here? Do you shoot the Vampire out of the sky? Or do you go for Triskelion? He goes for Triskelion. And yes, so I believe here Triskelion shooting 2 of its zappers off at the Granite Gargoyle, and then 1 at the player. And that's going to leave the board open here for the Vampire to do another round of damage here. If Triskelion is quite powerful, you kind of get rid of him with a Disenchant or 2 Lightning Bolts, and he's still going to be able to do some damage. And now being back in the graveyard, of course, can be reanimated in the future. Okay, there's a plane, so definitely developing his mana really well, and a birds. Wonder if we'll see. Oh, and a wheel. That's just a Mox and a land card. So yeah, Wheel of Fortune can be dangerous against Reanimator. In this case, no additional creatures were dumped. I mean, Erhnam Burn'em just got the mana advantage here, so let's see if we can take advantage of it. Nope, it's gonna be swords. Alright. And the Mox. At this point, it'd be nice to see, you know, Sheevan Dragon or Dragon Whelp. Something to put some pressure on the Reanimator. Because as long as that Bazaar of Baghdad is online, you're going to be able to draw into or find your All Hallows Eve a little easier. Okay, another Dark Ritual. And there it is. one can make a case for the coolest artwork. It's the Halloween card. And that's going to have to come in with 2 counters on it, and during each upkeep of the player who cast it, the counter goes away. So in 2 turns, all creatures from all graveyards come onto the battlefield. So certainly, oh, and there's a Nicol Bolas, there's a Swamp King, oh, there's some big, that's a stacked graveyard, and another Bazaar. So certainly, I mean, you could have a scenario where your opponent gets some great creatures back out, but the Reanimator deck with the Bazaar Baghdad is just built around discarding so much that it doesn't happen too often. Another Mox. We're gonna have to see. So now at this point, you kind of have 2 turns to kind of set up your board and get ready for this. Although there's just so much in the graveyard that I don't know what he's gonna be able to do. So here I believe the player is trying to disenchant All Hallows Eve, and again, yeah, it's such a unique and wonky card when they made it, so you cannot do this. So All Hallows Eve is a sorcery, and when it resolves, it basically just exiles itself and has 2 counters on it. There's no way to interact with it, to my knowledge. If there is, let me know in the description here, in the comments. But you can't really do it. You could counter it when it gets cast. That's really the way to stop it. But it's kind of like an unstoppable timer. Although that disenchant can be used for the Triskelion that's going to come out, so still has some good use here. That's a pass. Is that a pass turn? Yeah, that's tough. Maybe at this point you're thinking like you have a balance in your hands to kind of clean out all those creatures. There's a Strip Mine. Just gonna pass turn at this point, just waiting for the trigger to go off. I mean, it's the most fun part of the deck is when you actually get the trigger to go off. So that's a doozy of a graveyard that could potentially come out. And of course, the vampire is exiled, so that will not come out on the board. And he's just gonna pass turn. That's tough. So yeah, Swamp King, Nicol Bolas. So it's a 7/7 flyer that if it does damage to the player, the other player has to discard their entire hand. Basically, has a perfect mind twist built into it. Lord of the Pit. Just sacrifice. You have to sacrifice a creature during upkeep. Or sacrifice, another shadow or something to it. And that's gonna be it. I mean, yeah, the trigger is just too. It's just too many creatures there. So let's go over to game number 2 here. Yeah, I mean, the Erhnam Burn'em on that deck, it really wants to move quicker, and he had a great mana development, but you're going to want to move quicker, and a beautiful, beautiful turn 1 bird's exactly kind of what he wants to do, and oh, that is the best opening for you, for this deck, the Reanimator deck. I don't know if he's running Strip Mines or something to get rid of that, and there we've already got Nicol Bolas and Triskelion in the graveyard. And again, you don't even need mana to, if you're oh, and there it is, the Stone Rain. Absolutely beautiful. That was a perfect response that he needed there. And now I just dumped. I got rid. You get rid of your creatures. Now you're like, oh man, I don't. Oh, an Ancestral Recall. Okay. Again, increasing the odds of finding your All Hallows Eve. And you do see the Reanimator deck here in the beginning can be slow, can be open, can be vulnerable. Oh, so here you go. He has the 4 mana. You get the Erhnam Djinn out. That's kind of what he wants. Oh, it disenchant on the Mox. Okay. Really denying the... And he's going to bolt me. Another bolt. This is it now. This is the tempo. This is the speed you want to see Erhnam Burn'em play out. Deny them the land, deny them mana, burn them out. Definitely a better start for the player on the top here. Oh. Yeah, I think I remember this game being unfortunate in the sense that the Reanimator deck was basically playing like perfectly, or was really drawing strong cards. So there's an early. We know there's some creatures in the graveyard already. So timer down to 1. Oof, and there's a Time Walk. So we've seen Time Walk, Ancestral Recall. We've seen a Bizarre Baghdad. And so yeah, the Time Walk works so well, because now it's just, you move right to the zombie creatures coming out. Then the Kobolas has an upkeep cost of, I think it's black, blue, red. And so you do have to pay, I believe this is how it works, so these things come out during upkeep, but you're still in upkeep when they come out, so you have to pay the upkeep cost. Again, someone could correct me in the comments. I believe you have to immediately pay, so if Lord of the Pit comes out, you're going to have to immediately sack a creature to it during the upkeep. I'm going to get rid of the birds, which of course is a blocker for Nicole Bolas. Oh, this is tough. I felt like he was... Let's see. Okay, yep, that's the correct move, so... Again, the Erhnam Burn'em player having tons of answers here, playing really well. Will it be enough here to stop the zombie trike? Let's see. Okay, some damage can get through. Oh, regrowth. I mean, you're seeing all the restricted cards here today. And yeah, you're going to regrowth Ancestral Recall. That's nasty. There's a beautiful revised swamp. I personally have very few beta basic lands, something I want to get one day, and now a tutor. Oof, man. So what do you tutor for here? It's tough. He's not really showing anything about land cards. You've already done... Yeah. Maybe you tutor for you know, a Time Twister just to have fun. Or you just tutor for a Seeger Vampire and hardcast it. I mean, we'll see. But certainly, I mean, the weakness of Reanimator, again, if you're able to counter the All Hallows Eve, you kind of just shut it down. So if you know that you're playing... Now, of course, if you... Oh, and there it is. There's a beautiful 4/5 Djinn. But if the Reanimator catches you off guard and does its one thing it wants to do, it's very powerful. Not unbeatable, but very powerful. Okay, and then I don't know if that was the tutor card or not. Let me put some pressure on here in the air. And he's... Okay, an Amazavith. Great top deck. Again, lots of answers. That's going to hold the Vampire at bay. And the Trike lost one of its bolts here, so... Yeah, what do you do here now? So I think here was I was explaining that what I would do is block with the Vampire, and then it's a 4/4 the Vampire, so he would have 1 life left, and I would ping the Djinn with the Triskelion. So he's kind of he's going to lose his Djinn here, though he will kill the Vampire if he wants. So yeah, he's going to take the attack back, and I was fine with that. Just again, the Paladin's more of a casual format. I mean, sometimes people use strong decks, but it's a pretty friendly, you know, Tuesday or Friday night when people are playing. So you let people take stuff back. It's no big deal. Said this in other videos. Definitely my favorite group to play with. And if you're just getting into old school, I mean, I'll have the Discord. Check out in the Discord if you want to just mess around with some decks and play test. And there's another vampire. This is now... See, so again, Reanimator deck, it's more than... You can hard cast a lot of the creatures. So it's not, like, totally useless without the All Hallows Eve, but it's more fun to play with the All Hallows Eve. Now he's in a bit of a pickle here. Total Maze of Ith 1, but 4 damage will get through. And I think he's giving one of the vampires Forest Walk with the Djinn, but that's the one that he's then targeting with the Maze of Ith, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, and top decking is tough, and he's going to pass again. Oof. And we really need to see... I think if I'm the top deck here, you want to... I'd see maybe a Fireball to kill some of these. Maybe another Swords. The 2 vampires is tough because one's going to get through every time. Oh, and these Dark... This is the Dark Ritual deck. And hard casting a Swamp King. Interesting little ability, you gain 1 life every time a black spell is cast, so... Yeah, maybe we should change this video to the Dark Ritual deck. Okay, there's the birds. The birds can block a vampire. Buy him another turn, but... Of course the vampire will eat the bird and get stronger. Oh, right, I actually forgot about that. You just zap the bird with the, Triskelion. Okay, and he is gonna... I mean, you get to a point in some of these old school games where you're just trying to survive an extra turns, a couple extra turns, and get more card draw. I mean, that's kind of what he's doing here. He needs not a Plains. Oh, and he had 2 Moxins in his hand. So, I mean, Reanimator deck kind of doing what it wants to do. A 2-game victory there. Definitely some really strong draws off the top, and certainly I think I want to kind of see this deck what it could do against some other decks and see how it plays. But successful game 1, and we'll see you back here for the second video.